OpenAI,
ChatGPT.
It's March 2023, and ChatGPT's just become the fastest consumer app in history to reach 100 million users. Behind this unprecedented growth is a finance team now led by Sowmya, racing to build systems that can scale at extraordinary speeds. I sat down with OpenAI's former controller. For those who don't know, a controller oversees a company's entire financial operations for accuracy, reporting, and compliance. And when Sowmya joined OpenAI, it was adapt or die. This video reveals how OpenAI solved automated finance and seamlessly managed hypergrowth to over 400 million weekly users. I promise it's unlike anything you've seen before.
The growth at OpenAI humbled me very quickly. I might have just walked in and walked out and be like, I don't think I can do this. There's no grace period for doing things manually. We couldn't open the month of activity in Excel anymore because there's too many rows of data.
Welcome to Spendsetters, where you get expert advice from trailblazers in finance, brought to you by Rippling Spend. With no grace period for doing things manually, Sowmya was on a mission to build a dream state where finance and accounting were automated and virtually hands-free. To do this, she had to make a few critical and unconventional moves. But before understanding how Sowmya built OpenAI, we first need to understand three key tools: ChatGPT, SQL, and Python. You're likely already familiar, but ChatGPT is an AI tool that can generate virtually anything: essays, deep research, images, and relevant to today's video, usable code. It's like your AI assistant. SQL stands for Structured Query Language, SQL. It's defined as a programming language used to extract, organize, manage, and manipulate data stored in a database. In this case, accountants use it to manipulate and analyze financial data at scale. Because it's faster than pulling data from business applications, more flexible and customizable than Excel, and can handle vast amounts of data even bigger than Excel's file limits. And lastly, Python is another programming language that can help accountants automate repetitive tasks like data cleaning, reconciliations, and report generation, saving hours of manual work. You can also use it to easily pull, transform, and visualize data from large data sets. Now, using ChatGPT to write and verify SQL queries and Python scripts would eventually help Sowmya's team get really close to this automated dream state of accounting. But the issue is, for SQL and Python to be most effective, you'd want what's called a data warehouse, or somewhere to manipulate your finance data. And this brings us to Sowmya's first unconventional move that 20x'd her team's efficiency: putting data at the center of the finance function. This is one thing that massively separates OpenAI from the average company. Here's Sowmya explaining more.
I famously traded a revenue accounting headcount in my first month there for a finance data engineer, very technical full stack data engineer role. Most companies have been. Finance data is seen as kind of this downstream reporting layer. Once accounting and the finance team does their job, you do dashboarding, metrics, reporting, and it's very downstream. We kind of turned that on its head completely, and we put finance data in the middle of everything we did.
Sowmya first embedded this highly technical full stack engineer into her accounting team, sitting them right next to her revenue person, saying your mandate is to make revenue touchless. Now, this next part might get confusing, but stick with me. I promise it's worth it, if nothing more than just because it's fascinating. Sowmya's team got to work on the infrastructure. All of their upstream data, like raw costs and revenue data, flowed into their data warehouse, Databricks. Then, within Databricks, they applied transformations, Python scripts, and SQL queries. For example, running a SQL query to get a deferred revenue waterfall, or a Python script to convert a raw CSV file into journal entries. The transformed and repackaged data is then exported into NetSuite. Then from NetSuite, they send the data back into Databricks to run an automatic reconciliation between their source data and NetSuite data. This is all being done automatically while also being fed to a real-time dashboard for any stakeholder to view. With this foundational, data-centric approach, Sowmya and her team can now take full advantage of AI tools like ChatGPT to write Python scripts and SQL queries and manipulate vast amounts of data automatically and with ease. Now, shockingly, revenue was actually the easiest part of accounting, because they had Stripe, which had well-oiled data pipelines. It was their OpEx and compute costs from vendors that caused massive pain.
When your revenue grows, your compute costs grow. You're basically melting those GPUs. And the activity file for that blew up, where we couldn't open the month of activity in Excel anymore because there's too many rows of data. We had to, break the month of activity into 9 or 10 different files and then do this Excel pivoting, VLOOKUP, whatever, 9 times and then stitch it together. And it was brutal and still broke people's computers. And it was just this massively painful thing.
The solution? Sowmya had usage data sent securely from Microsoft, their compute provider at the time, to OpenAI's data warehouse. From there, they ran Python scripts to automatically update the computer usage data set within Databricks and display usage metrics on a live dashboard for anyone to see. This means any stakeholder can visit this dashboard and see their usage to date or how they're tracking against budget for compute costs.
And from that automated dashboard, this goes back to what I said about putting data in the center. You can actually build pipelines, reverse ETL pipelines back into NetSuite to then just automate your accrual key for that month. So you can kind of have this entire process be touchless, and it is a really good dream state, to be honest.
Now, if this all sounds way too complex for your needs, it might be. But the good news is you can start small just by using ChatGPT alone. No data warehouses, no SQL, but maybe a little bit of Python. In this video, Sowmya actually gives step-by-step instructions on how to start using ChatGPT in accounting. She includes beginner use cases like revenue recognition to more advanced things like creating your own GPT to automate journal entries, or even using Python to manipulate large CSV files. While we don't all need these complex data pipelines and AI use cases, we all should be thinking about how to use AI in our own workflows. You might also be wondering, how do I get my team to actually adopt AI? I'll start with what not to do. Issuing a generalized AI first mandate saying we need to use AI now without any real support or structure will only add pressure to your team. That's not guiding employees to actually discover new AI use cases. Instead, Sowmya recommends launching a finance hackathon.
I think the main thing to realize is AI is really new technology, right? So the only way to have people adopt it is to give folks a really low stakes way to explore use cases, because not everything is going to pan out immediately. You kind of have to find your most pressing problems. You build MVPs around it, and you kind of say, okay, what is kind of the most problematic thing that I do manually? And what if I could just use, ChatGPT to try to figure out how to automate that small bit and then slowly expand?
So why do these hackathons work? Sowmya says it's because there's less pressure. Employees aren't worried about how this is going to impact their performance review. It's an exploratory environment which largely changes how people feel about adopting AI at work. So this is your sign. During your finance offsite, take 3 hours off the schedule. Say this is going to be a finance hackathon. Outline a few initiatives that drive toward overall business goals or OKRs. Then have people drop in ideas for projects they want to work on related to those OKRs and goals using AI. Have people self-organize into small groups based on these projects, then poke around in ChatGPT for 2 hours and do a demo for about an hour. And of course, you need to have a prize. Chances are this will yield some practical innovations for your team while improving their comfortability with AI. Once again, check out this video where Sowmya walks through 3 use cases for ChatGPT and accounting. It'll either be up in the top right if you're on YouTube, or if you're on Rippling Plus, it'll be in the playlist to the left. And as always, subscribe to the Spendsetters newsletter. It's read by 20,000 CFOs and controllers every single week, because you get content like this video, but you get it weeks in advance. It's completely free and you can sign up in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.